Today I want to go over my Crown Knight army. Now, this is my second biggest faction with over 100 units, and it consists of the Fantasy Era Crown Knights and the Castle 2013 Crowned Lion Knights. Now, in my lore, the Crowned Lion Knights were a smaller faction that joined in with the bigger Crown Knight faction, and that's how I sort of tied them together in my lore, because I had the figures and they all had the crown, and I thought it just sort of made sense to tie them all into one. Today I want to go over my specialized characters, the start of my cavalry unit, my heavy infantry, my men-at-arms, light infantry, and ranged infantry. So anyhow, let's get into it. To start off, we have the specialized characters of the army. Now, these guys are still a work in progress when it comes to lore of the individual characters, as well as making more characters, but if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments. To start out, we have the king minifigure. Now, I wanted this kingdom to be sort of a long-standing kingdom, so I wanted to give the king a bit of an older look. And to do that, I combined the parts of the 2007 Fantasy Era king with the 2013 Lion Knight king, and I think he turned out pretty well. Next, we have the queen minifigure. Now, I did not have the blue dress that I originally wanted to use for her, and I may swap that out in the future. But other than that, I'm really happy with the figure, and I really like this hair piece. I think it gives a sort of noble look, especially in combination with that fur collar. Next, we have the royal guard, and these guys actually protect the royal family, and I absolutely love how they came out. Their breastplates are from the Fantasy Era king, and I decided to give them pearl decorate armor just to differentiate them a bit from the normal soldiers. I also gave them gold spears to give them a more fancy look, and I gave them the long shields just to differentiate them from the other long spearmen in the army. Next, I have this guy, and I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with him, but I think I want to make him the general of the Crown Knights. I really like the look of the shield plus the breastplate from the Heroic Knight, and these legs just add a little touch of gold, which is perfect. If you guys have any ideas for this character though, let me know in the comments. Next, we have this character, and I think I want to make her either the leader of the heavy infantry or the leader of the men-at-arms, but I'm not exactly sure. I once again used the shield from the Heroic Knight, and I think that looks so good for a leader or a commander. And I also gave her this heavy visor, but it can easily be flipped up to still show the personality of the face print. Once again, let me know your thoughts on this character or any ideas that you might have. Next, we have the commander of the light infantry, and I wanted to give this guy a lighter armor look, so I gave him the chainmail print from the Fright Knight CMF, but I swapped the arms out to blue and gave him these black falcon legs to still give that Crown Knight color scheme vibe. I also really like the head and the hair for this guy, and I'm just overall really happy with the character. Next, we have these guys, and these guys are like lieutenants of the army or officers. They don't lead any specific branch of the army, but they are some cool personalized characters, which I was not exactly sure what to do with. If you guys have any thoughts for these guys, let me know in the comments. Next, we have the general of the Crown Knights, and this guy is essentially just the strategist during war times, but he's also one of the King's Council members. I would like to find a good pair of printed legs for this guy. If you have any ideas, let me know. Next, we have the Jousting Champions, and there's actually two for this faction, and the lore reason for this is that when the Crown Lions joined forces with the Crown Knights, they already had their own Jousting Champion. So there is two separate Jousting Champions for this faction. For the first Jousting Champion, we have the original Crown Knight one, which uses the Heroic Knight shield and breastplate. I also used this barding that has this touch of gold with the original Crown Knight pattern, and then a dark blue horse helmet. I also gave him a dark blue feather, and then a dark blue flag with a gold flag just to differentiate from the other Crowned Lions. For the Crowned Lion Jousting Champion, I wanted to play a lot more into that blue and white color scheme. I also gave her the breastplate with the lion sigil just to kind of match everything. I also gave her this gold horse helmet that originally came with this barding, and I think it really puts everything together. For the Jousting Champions, I really wanted to show the individuality between the 2013 and 2007 version of the Crown Knights. And overall, I'm really happy on how they turned out. Next, we have the leader of the cavalry, and I absolutely love how this guy looks with this Rohan helmet. And I gave him this gold horse armor with a gold helmet to sort of show his rank. And then I also gave him the old Fright Knight torso, and I just think this character looks great. Next, we have the start of my cavalry unit. Now, this is the basic design I'm going to use for all of them, although I do need to order more parts to actually complete the unit. But I'm really happy with this design and how they look with the long spears, and I think I'll probably add some flags to some of them as well. Next we have the men-at-arms of the Crown Knights, and I wanted to give these guys a more armored look, so I gave them these breastplates, and then I used these grill helms, which I don't really use for any other figures, and I think it really gives them a distinguishable and unique look in the army. I've also just given them a variety of heavy weapons, and some of them with shields, and just alternated the sort of print set that I used. Next we have the heavy swordsmen of the heavy infantry, and these guys look awesome. I really love the combination of the falcon legs with that crown torso like I've mentioned before. They also have these nice shoulder pad pieces and great helms, and I just think they look perfect for heavy swordsmen. Next we have the long spearmen, and I absolutely love the look of their spears with these minifigure hands to represent small flags. I've also given them chainmail armor and heavy shoulder pads to give them a heavy infantry look, and then I've also given them these dwarf shields just to differentiate them a bit from the normal spearmen. Overall, I'm really happy with how these guys turned out, and they especially look good in a defensive formation. For the final part of the heavy infantry, we have these pikemen. Now, these guys have these pikes with blue flags on them, and I decided to differentiate their armor and helmets a little bit, just so that they don't look the exact same as the long spearmen. These guys are oftentimes used as an anti-cavalry unit, but they'll oftentimes fight in formation with the long spearmen. Now, moving on to the light infantry, we start off with the spearmen. Now, this is one of the biggest units in the army, and it consists of 20 spearmen. And these guys all have a pretty basic design from the fantasy era Crown Knights with some dark blue legs, and then I have swapped a few of the shields around just for a bit of diversity. These guys are used as formation fighters, guards, or just basic soldiers in battle, and I think they especially look cool in a large formation. Next we have the short swordsmen, and this is another basic unit as the light infantry is fairly basic, and these guys just have a short sword instead of the spear and shield like the spearmen. Their unit consists of only 10, and they're just some pretty basic soldiers in battle. Next we have the flag bearers. Now these guys have a pretty basic design with the nasal helms, although I did give them slightly fancier checkered patterns than the rest of the light infantry. The three smaller flag bearers are used for individual units during battle to keep their cohesion, but the large flag bearer is the flag bearer of the entire army, and he bears a custom flag. Now for the final part of the army, we have the ranged infantry, and starting off we have a unit of 20 crossbowmen. Now these guys use a variety of the 2013 and 2007 torsos, and I think it's good for a bigger unit to use variety when you can, although this army still has a lot of clone-like figures. I gave these guys kettle helms and then just a basic quiver and crossbow for all of them, but I would like to get some custom Mando capes in the future for all my ranged infantry. Next we have a squad of 10 archers, and these guys use the medieval hood piece, which I think looks great for archers and gives them a lighter armored feel than like the crossbowmen, for example. And then I've also used this torso that has this strap where the quiver goes, and I think that looks perfect for a archer. These guys have lighter armor, so they can be used offensively or defensively, whether it be pushing enemies out of important positions or staying back and shooting volleys of arrows at key targets. Finally, we have the longbowmen of the army, and these guys serve as the scouts or rangers. I absolutely love how they look with the dark blue hood, and I think they'll look especially good when I can get them their dark blue capes as well. The longbowmen are the most offensive of the ranged infantry, but are also extremely accurate and deadly when holding down defensive positions. So that is it for my Crown Knight army. If you enjoyed, leave a like and comment down below what your favorite part of the army is. Also subscribe if you haven't already, because I make LEGO Castle content every Saturday at 12 PST. As always, thank you for watching.